Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Corner Office Chats. Usually it's with Mehreen and Alexis, but today Alexis is out. She's doing her thing, so it's just me. I'll be chatting with you. And today's topic is on trust issues in leadership. Really important topic. Ooh, I know for some people, maybe your stomach just churned, maybe, something got triggered when you're talking about trusting people in leadership, right? For most people who maybe have worked in the corporate world, have dealt with trusting the leadership, trusting their manager, trusting their teammate. And it doesn't only stem there. It could even stem into any relationships that you could have. It could be with your siblings. It could be with, your children. It could be with any area in your life. So when we're talking about trust issues in leadership, we're talking about your own personal leadership. So you thought we were going to be talking about how you trust others. Sometimes it's about trusting yourself. So for a leader, whether you're in a leadership role in your own business or in a corporation, but you're a leader of your own life and how you're going to show up. And you want to reflect on, what does trust really mean to you? There's a lot of things that people say, but it has some kind of ambiguous meaning. Like what trust means to me could mean something different for you. For example, what trust means to me is that I'm getting communication. I know where things are. I'm communicating. That there's authenticity there, and there's connection. So when all those factors are there, then I know that I have trust with this relationship, whether it's with my husband, whether it's with my children. I always tell them that as long as you're in communication, I trust you. Unless if there's some reason that you've given me, then there's no reason for me not to trust you, unless there is a reason that causes it, like, catch kids in the lie or whatever, right? So it's really important to notice. And I apologize, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's thundering. So hopefully I don't get disconnected here. But if you could hear that, please excuse the thunder. So trust starts with you. You want to look in your areas of your life where you have lack of trust. Start thinking about where in any of your relationships, maybe with a teammate, maybe with a manager, and look at why is it that you don't trust them? Because they're being who they're being, because that's who they know who to be. Now, what is it that they're doing that is impacting you, that's triggering that lack of trust that you have for them? For example, you may be emailing them or texting them, but they're not responding. And notice that their response means to you something, that either they're ignoring you, they're not working on what they need to be working on, or whatever it means to you. I want you to think about, when people aren't responding to you, what that means. Now, if there's another aspect of it, is that they're talking in circles around it. So you feel like you're not getting clear communication, right? So if you're feeling like you're not getting clear communication, and so it's probably causing some kind of lack of trust from your end. So you want to look at, or maybe ask them, that what I'm hearing is that this is what's happening. Am I catching that right? And maybe they don't understand the question that you're asking. So you can repeat back what it is that they're saying. If they agree, then you know that you can trust them. There is no reason for you not to trust them until you know for sure. And you can even be honest to just say, when you're not telling me this or that, and I'm not really sure what's exactly going on, I have a notion of, or a feeling of, that maybe you're not being completely honest. And if there's something that you just don't want to share with me right now, just let me know. That I can't be I don't want to be fully disclosing something, but I'm dealing with something, and but I just need some time. If somebody just says that, then you may feel better. So really look at in your areas where you have lack of trust. And also think about where you're not trusting yourself. Okay? So it's really important as a leader to be trusting yourself and knowing where you hold integrity with yourself and where you're not, because that will reflect on how you're leading other people or how you're influencing other people. So let's talk about, for example, commitment. As a leader, you may decide to say yes to a lot of things, like, yes, I'm going to take care of that, or I'll get back to you with that. But what happens is that you may find that you get overcommitted and you didn't put the proper structure in place to make sure it gets done. So what happens is when it's time for due, or you're supposed to meet with that person and you don't show up or you don't have it ready, then they feel like they can't trust you to be there on time or have things done when you say you're going to have them done. And really, it has nothing to do with, you or them. It's just that there's a lack of structure that hasn't been put in place. Okay, so that structure that you want to look at is that when you're committing to something and you want to hold, because what you're building through your word is trust, you want to make sure that you're scheduling in time to complete on what was requested of you. So think of a time where we've all done it. We said that we were going to do something and we didn't. Think of a time that we didn't do that, right? So let's see. For me, okay, for example, for my daughter, she had asked me to get something done, and I told her that I would get it done by the end of the week. Okay, it was to make an appointment for something, and I completely forgot. And so she asked me. She's like, "Mom, you always forget." Now she doesn't trust me because I always forget, because I say, "Yeah, I'm going to take care of it." And then what I responded to her was, "You're right. You're right. You can't trust me on it because I said I was going to do it." But what happened is that I didn't put a structure in place on my calendar to make sure that I get that done. And so it slipped my mind. I got it back-to-back meetings and totally forgot to put in a time that I needed to take care of that, or put a sticky note on my monitor to make sure that I took care of that for you. And so I asked her, I said, if you ever catch me and you're asking me to do something, remind me to put it on my calendar, to make sure that I get it done. Because it wasn't my intention not to get it done. It's just that I didn't put a structure in place to make sure it gets done. So when you start to communicate from that aspect, then you can regain that trust again. And they can get in the world of that you just didn't have a structure, and they can help you along with that. When we work with our clients, when they're committing to something, we always ask, okay, so you're going to get it done, but by when? And what is it exactly that you're going to get done? Okay, and where have you put it in your calendar? Did you allot a time to make sure that you're working on it to get it done by then? And it makes them look, it makes them think, they're like, oh, you know what? Maybe I can't get it done this week because I got all this stuff going on. Well, great. So glad you checked in on your calendar. So when do you think you can get it done? Next week by Wednesday, because I can make time on Monday to do it. Okay, perfect. That's all it takes. When we're building trust, be really open to communication. Really know that sometimes lack of communication and coaching sometimes is what gets in the way. We start to make assumptions that they don't care, they're not reliable, they're not, whatever it is. It's just that they may not know what the impact is on you or others, or they don't even know how to manage themselves when they're promising something. So that's one aspect of creating trust in a relationship, is really being authentic of who you're being, how you're committing to something, and being able to say, I missed it. I missed it and I apologize. I can imagine that it makes you feel like you can't rely on me, right? And if you acknowledge that, and is there any other impact that it had? I've asked my husband, and my husband's asked me to do something before. And he says, yeah, I've asked you to do these things, but you keep saying that it's going to be done. You're supposed to do it last weekend, but it's still not done. It makes me feel like you don't really care. I'm like, oh, I do care. I just didn't make sure I get it done. Or I'm avoiding it because I really don't want to do this stuff or the paperwork or whatever. I was like, could you do the paperwork and then I can take it from there? And he's like, yeah, I could do that. I have time to do the paperwork. I was like, okay, if you can get me the paperwork, I can take it from there. So you see how easily we can get that to happen, because I just communicated that there was something about it that had me stop, that I didn't have time or want to do. And he was like, oh, I could do that part. That's easy. I can get that done for you. That's how you rebuild your trust again, and really being open with where you are. I hear so many times for leaders, they don't want to hire new team members because it's too much work, or can I trust them? Will they get it done right? I cannot tell you how many times I've hired someone and had to go through the training, and they didn't always get it right the first time. I mean, maybe not even the second or third time. And what I always did, it's not that I didn't trust them. What I looked at was what was missing in training or communication to make sure that they could get it done. And so then I would step back through and I say, okay, so this is the request I made. What did you understand from it? And they may say, oh, I didn't know that's what you wanted. It's actually just happened to me. They said, oh, I misunderstood. So it was just, there was a misunderstanding. It's not that she didn't want to get it done. It's just that she didn't understand in the format that I needed it to be done. So we just said, not a problem. We need to make sure that it's done by, can you have it done by then? She's like, really busy. How about next week? Perfect. Works fine. It's not a life or death. Now, if it had it been a deadline that needed to get done, I would have been like, I really need it tomorrow. What can we do together to get it done so that we have it done for tomorrow? And my apologies for not communicating it better. Just taking responsibility, because I could have. In my mind, I did explain it, but maybe on her end, I didn't check in to see if she understood what I really wanted, right? So and this is part of when you hire new people, there's a learning process of how you communicate with one another. And now what I'm going to make sure that I do is that when I've put in a request, that have her repeat it back so that I know that she completely understands what the satisfaction of completion looks like. So as a leader, being responsible with just how you communicate. Nothing is wrong. It's for you to just look at how you can do better, how you can listen better, how you can instruct better, how you can build that relationship, and how you can be completely authentic. And you'll actually be surprised, you'll gain more influence and respect from others when you're completely honest when you miss the boat on something. It happens to the best of us. Trust can be rebuilt if you truly, authentically put effort into it and have full communication and understand what the impact on the receiving end may be, and check in with them. So if you want to take your leadership to a next level, or you're working on building your team, check in with your team and ask them what kind of communication would they want? How frequent would they want it? Would they want a weekly communication, a bi-weekly check-in, a daily, check-in? What is it that they need, especially in the beginning stages of any relationship? You want to have a little bit more frequency and high touch. So you're getting to learn how you work together, how we take instructions from each other, and really get to know the essence of somebody, the authenticity and the sincerity of someone. And if they're not communicating, you're feeling like there's a lack of communication, express that. Just say, I'm just wanted to check in. Is the communication that I'm giving is clear? Because I'm not getting any questions back, or, if you can just repeat back, I want to make sure that we're saving time and getting things done correctly. A lot of times I see leaders, they get frustrated that I have to redo it. It didn't happen right, blah, blah, blah. All those things, but you're not really helping yourself or the team if you're just redoing it. In the beginning, you may have to take some time to really teach people how you want things done, especially if you're running a business or you're leading a team or a project, right? And there's so many tools out there. So a lot of times I just don't have the time to sit with them directly. So what I'll do is I use this Loom. There's a free Loom tool that you can do recordings. And I'll actually go through and I'll do a recording of whatever it is that I'm reviewing and talk through or walk through what I see or what needs to be changed so that they can understand my thought process. And once they're aligned with my thought process, the hope is that in the future that it gets easier for them. They kind of know, okay, Mehreen's going to look for this, Mehreen's going to look for that. And it makes it easier for them to know what they need to do. Now, does it happen that they're still confused and still not, producing? That could be a skill level. It could be other factors as well. But you do want to give some chance. We're not perfect human beings. We're not perfect leaders. We shouldn't expect perfection from our team members. What we can expect is that they're putting in the effort and they're building upon their skills as you're putting in time with them. If that's not happening, then it's another conversation. But you can be responsible for building any trust that you want to have with anyone, whether it's with your spouse, whether it's with your children, whether it's with the community, whether it's with your team member. You can be responsible for that. And it doesn't matter if you're a leader, like actually managing a team or not. This is a tool that you can start applying now in any area of your life. All right. And it always starts with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Be authentic with yourself. Be sincere with yourself. And from there, you will always reach trust in all your relationships. So I'm Mehreen Siddiqui. Thank you so much for joining today's Corner Office Chat. Hope you found this helpful. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you got from today's, trust issues in leadership. And what is it that you're going to start applying now? We love to hear what your ahas are. And if there's anything that you feel that you've tried, any tools that you've tried that has worked for you. We always are welcome to get your feedback. And we look forward to seeing you again next time. I'll be back here with Alexis next week, Thursday at 1:30 Eastern. Bye now.